Hello everyone, my name is Alex Martinez, also known as According to Alex here on YouTube. In today's video, we're going to be talking about more of the HEROES Act. So if you like this type of content, please subscribe, like the video for more updates. I will be bringing you more updates as they happen, as well as smart money tips. So let's get right into what I'm going to be talking about today, which is on the HEROES Act, specifically on this mega bill that has a section of it for renters and mortgage. Basically, what is written in the bill, in the proposed bill, is that people, renters, and people who hold a mortgage will be able to qualify to not pay their mortgage or not pay their rent for up to 12 months. They will qualify for basically free rent for a year, which is awesome. And also it talks about some other things as well. So let's dive right into it over here. So starting right off the bat, you have to go all the way to page 961 of this 1800 page bill. It's ridiculous. So once you're on page 961, you're going to see this: the protecting renters and homeowners from evictions and foreclosures. Basically, it is a moratorium, which means it prohibits the eviction. So what is it saying first off? So I highlighted a few things. From a Harvard University study, it says that 20.8 million people from the United States spend more than 30% of their actual income on housing. I believe that, but even more, I believe this: 10.9 million renters spend more than 50% of their income on housing. That sounds more likely because I think I fall under maybe the 40%. It is ridiculous. So according to the Department of Labor, more than 30 million people are without a job right now, have filed for unemployment, which that is absolutely ridiculous. And hopefully this kind of alleviates some stuff. Now, basically what this is saying is at the beginning of this act, at the beginning of this bill passing, hopefully it does, and 12 months after it has already passed, the state may not make any type of preparations or file any type of court order to recover possession of your property for non-payment. So basically, you're safe. You can keep your home for these next 12 months if you cannot pay for it. Now, specifically what it says is you're going to have these 12 months that you are not required to actually vacate. You have 12 months. Those are good for you for non-payment. And you have another 30 days that your lender also needs to give you. They need to give you the 12 months plus an additional 30-day notice if you continue to not be able to pay for your mortgage. Now, specifically, let's talk about what is the mortgage relief going to look like. And it's basically a forbearance and foreclosure for covered mortgages. And covered mortgages just include residential places of 1 to 4 beds and baths, and it basically covers anything that has a mortgage, that has a deed of trust, or anything that is equivalent to that effect. Now, this enactment ends after 12 months. Okay, we know that. There's also an automatic forbearance that is going to be happening if this bill comes through. What it's going to look like is after 60 days of you being delinquent, between March 13, 2020 and when and if this bill actually passes, then you will automatically be enrolled into a 60-day forbearance period. This 60-day forbearance period can actually be extended, where if I scroll down more, okay, right here, it can be extended for an additional 120 days. It can be extended for another 180 days. Okay, it can be extended all the way to 360 days. That's what they're saying, that this extension of forbearance can happen. How you can actually get this forbearance is by just writing to your lender, or just calling them and, word of mouth saying, hey, I need forbearance. And normally, if you ever wanted to get forbearance, you need to prove that you're in this state that you need forbearance. But with this bill, it states that specifically you will not need to provide any documentation. I'll get to that part in a second. And maybe it's right here. Let me scroll down a little bit. Initiate forbearance during this period. Nope, it's not that. Additional foreclosures and response may not initiate judicial foreclosure for the next 6. No, it's not that. Okay, I'll just talk about it. Basically, you can just say it by word of mouth that you need forbearance, and they won't ask you for any documentation. If you just say, hey, I can't pay my rent and I can't pay my mortgage, then they're going to have to take your word for it, as long as it's related to this illness that's going around. Now, foreclosure protection, this is actually to protect you from foreclosures. What it says specifically is that they may not initiate or proceed with any judicial or non-judicial foreclosures, or process a schedule of foreclosure sale or whatever for the next 6 months of enactment of this actual bill, if this bill passes, of course. And your personal property is also protected. It says repossession prohibited as well. So your personal property cannot be taken. Motor vehicles, no person may use any judicial or non-judicial procedure. Again, the same thing as foreclosure. They may not take away your personal property for the next 6 months after this bill passes, when and if, of course. So submitting a request, here's what I wanted to talk about. Submitting a request orally is enough for your provider. All you need to do is say orally, hey, I need forbearance. And you need to affirm that you are in some type experiencing financial hardship. With this, then that should be enough to then process your forbearance. Now here's an interesting part that I like. It's talking about interest or fees that are paid, because we know that in a mortgage or renters or whatever, we pay some interest and some fees. Now it says a servicer shall not charge a borrower any fees, penalties, or interest. You won't be charged any penalties, any fees, or any interest. And you are also entitled to get specifically a modification option. So they need to give you an option to modify your loan where it says, hey, you're going to have a chance to pay, you're going to have to pay the payments you didn't pay for a year at the end of your mortgage. Or they might give you something else. But basically what they're saying is that they will not increase your principal and interest, which means they won't increase your monthly payment. This is what this bill says. Your monthly payment, if you go into forbearance, will not be increased after you get out of forbearance. It will either stay the same or go down. And this is the no documentation required that I talked about. So I already talked about that one. So this one talks about specific things that are gonna go on when you ask for forbearance. You're going to get a specific terms for the forbearance. You're going to get a beginning and an end date, whether that's 6 months, whether that's 9 months, whether that's a year. You're going to get a specific time frame. You are going to be eligible for 12 months. Every person is going to be eligible for 12 months of forbearance. As long as, I don't know about multifamily, this only talks about the 1 to 4 residential. The borrower may not request an extension. You may request, I think I said may not. I meant you may request an extension of forbearance. You are allowed to do that. Okay, here's the next part that I wanted to talk about, which is that when and if this bill passes, again, like I keep saying that, a clear web page is going to be made available for everyone in English and Spanish from all your lenders, saying that forbearance is available for you to take advantage of. Basically, you will have a chance for forbearance. And also, what the lenders are supposed to be doing is they're supposed to be notifying every person that has a mortgage that is either delinquent or having issues orally. So they're supposed to give them a call saying, hey, you might be eligible for forbearance and you should take advantage of it. So I think this is really awesome. They're making the lenders actually do this, which is great. Now here's the next part I want to talk about is offer the borrower a loss of mitigation. Now here's what's going to happen with this one. You're going to have basically, I think, 2 options, or there might be a different option. No, there's going to be 2 options for when your forbearance period ends. So the first one is that they're going to tack on everything that you didn't pay for the year at the end of your mortgage. So instead of having 20 years left, you'll have 21 years left. Okay, that's not bad. I think that's not bad as long as your monthly payment stays the same, which the bill also says that will happen. Now here's the next one, which is it extends the term of the mortgage loan, capitalizes, defers, and forgives all escrow advances. Basically, you're not going to have to pay back all that year. You're going to get that whole year for free. because they say either you're going to tack it on at the end, or your lender is just going to have to forgive everything, which would be great. If your lender just forgives everything, that would solve a lot of the issues. Next part that I want to talk about is renter's protection. Now, what are they saying about a renter's protection? If you are the homeowner and you rent out your home, let's say the homeowner gets forbearance, then this person will not be able to evict their tenant for any reason that is for non-payment. So if the tenant can no longer pay the rent, they can't evict them. They can't charge them any penalties. They can't charge them any late fees. Now, I don't know, I'm not sure, but I think you can still evict the tenant for breaking the lease contract, but you can't evict them for just not paying what they need to pay anyways. So just take that into account. If you accept this forbearance and your rent stops, you can't evict your tenant for not paying rent, because that kind of defeats the purpose. So that's pretty much it. That's all I want to talk about today. Thank you so much for your time. If you liked the video, please subscribe, like, comment, do all that fun stuff. Thank you so much, and have a great day.